Head over to miniaturemarket.com. They have thousands of board games at discounted prices like Sagrada, The Great Facades Life. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going back to building stained glass windows. In the past I've reviewed Sagrada and one of its expansions, and now the second of the 3 Great Facades expansions is here, called Life. Let me show you what's in here and I'll see you on the other side. Now this game comes with multiple modules. One of them is using what's called the Apprentice. And this comes with 12 different double-sided boards, and you'll notice that the biggest difference in these is that each of them has 2 symbols that look like this. So a lot of variability in being able to add these to your board. Now how this works is, let's say I have a die placed and I have a purple die that I've drafted and I want to put it here. When I put it on this Apprentice icon, it matches the icon of the Apprentice. Now this deck is typically out in the middle of the table, not next to me, but I've placed it here just east of, so that you can see it. You can either take this discarded card, which says, hey, when you activate this, when you want to, you don't have to do it right away, you ignore color restrictions this round, then you discard it at the end of the round. So you can take this, or you can take 2 off the top. You'd put these in your hand and you decide which one you want to keep, and these do all sorts of different things. For example, this one says you can move up to 2 dice in your window. They don't have to be adjacent to other dice, but you have to obey all the restrictions, then you discard it. Or return any number of dice from the draft pool to the bag, draw that number of dice from the bag, and then re-roll and add them to the draft pools, things like that. Now I'm just showing you a bunch of them here. This one says gain a random public objective from outside of the game. At the end of the game, you can score this instead of one of the public objectives from the center. This one I got once. It was really cool. You can gain 20 points for each public or private goal where you score 0 points. That's really interesting too. One time I actually got both of these in the same game. I was able to gain a random card and then say I didn't do it and get the 20 points. It's really powerful if you get that to work. And then there's some things like with the private draft pool. You can swap any 2 dice from your private dice pool with 2 from the draft pool. So there's all sorts of new ways to manipulate things, and you get that twice per game. You'll be getting some of those cards. Some of them just activate. Some of them you actually have to discard it, meaning the next player that activates that could actually take that card. So you have to be careful about when and what card you put there. Now another module is this Masterworks Dice. This also goes in the middle of the table, and each of these dice will get placed with the icon showing. Now with higher player counts there's actually more dice than just here, but with lower player counts there's only 1 of each that are here. Now for example, let's say that I have a red die or a 6 that I don't want to use. I've drafted it, I can place it here, and when I do that, in this case, I'm going to get 2 favor tokens. You can see it right there. So I would get 2 favor tokens, which again help you activate the tools, and I place this. Now orange is its own color, right? So I can put it here with white, and like what this tells me is at the end of the game, if this and this are either the same color or the same number, I'll get 5 points. If not, I'll get 2 points, but it's only assessed at the end of the game. And so these ones do different things, like this one is trying to make, this one match this one and things like that. This one is the sides, this is diagonal, this is nothing around it's the same color, this is nothing around it's the same number. Now again, with each of these, once it's gone, with a lower player count, once this is gone, this won't be used anymore. But in some of these, like this one, you can put any color and you don't get any favorite tokens, but you're getting this one. This one only gets you 1 favorite token, but you get the die. And so a lot of the game of this is getting these at the right time in the right spots and being able to, because these are 5 points for every one you get done. So you load up with a few of those, and it's pretty cool that way. Now the game also has tools that you can mix in with this, like changing the Masterwork die in your window to any side. That's really useful if you're not making it. Change it to the side that you want. Now you've got them to match. It'll be the 5 points at the end. Or swap a Masterwork die in your window with a die from the round track. You could do that if you realize that you're not going to match it. You don't want to get the minus points. You can swap that out, assuming you can obey all the placement restrictions. Now this expansion also comes with more public goals, and 2 of them have to do with the orange Masterwork dice. This says, hey, sum up everything around 1 of your Masterwork dice. You add up the pips around there. Or this one says 2 points for each die that matches the color and value of another die, and it can be those ones as well. So 2 ones that are kind of specific to the orange dice a little bit. But then there's also some other public goals that you can use. Like this one says the darkest column. Some of the values in the completed column with the highest total value. So that's kind of a different new one. Round track match. 3 points for each die that matches the color and value of a die on the round track. And that's interesting, especially if you you mess with that with some of the tools that allow you to change things in the dice roll. You can totally screw other people over, or you can actually set yourself up later in the game with some of those tools comboed with this. Row shape variety, 5 points for each rows with no repeated values. And then the brightest row, which is the sum of the values in the completed row with the lowest value. So, and this last one here, 5 points for each column with either an alternating color or value. So different ones to always mix in. Variety is always great in this game, and it's what makes this game what it is. So that's pretty much all the things that come in the expansion. All right, first the Apprentice Module. I like that there's 12 new sort of like board imprints that you can put in. They're double-sided, so 24 different boards essentially, all having those two little, Apprentice icons, and you're triggering those to get the cards. And I like that when you trigger those, you're either taking a discarded one or two off the top and picking one and discarding the other. Because discarding could be big in this game, because you could be discarding something that somebody else really wants or needs, and you might not want to do that. But I like that you do that about twice per game. You'll probably get both of them done because they're exciting, and you'll be getting some cool new abilities. It doesn't add a huge amount to the game, but it does add a good amount of a nice little new thing that doesn't take a whole lot more to teach, but does add another level of another cool ability I can use. Which one do I want? Stuff like that. And again, thinking of discarding which ones to discard or pulling for the discard is cool. The Masterworks dice, the orange dice, I love those. I like that it also came with a couple of tools to manipulate them and some public goals that go with them. Those dice are really cool because it really does change your focus a lot in the game, where before you're always focused on just the public goals, but now it's like, ooh, I could get a bunch of these, and I might lose some public goals, but I'm gonna get 5 points for every one of these that I do. And you could probably still get some public goals for it. So I like that it gives you something different to focus on. It makes you play the game a little bit differently. I like that you can play the game with all the modules from all the expansions. I did that once, and my gosh, was it a brain burner. Played with the rare dice, the clear ones. Played with the Masterworks dice. Played with the Apprentice things. Played with, the inspiration cards. All that. You play with everything, and this game like grinds to a halt in a good way. For me, it was, because it really was a lot more to think about, a lot more. Oh, the private dice pool, that one too. You can really play everything together if you want to for a really big, grandiose game, and I like that because it makes the game very thinky. And obviously you can't play it with someone who's not played before because you're all playing the same game. Luckily, I was able to play with someone who's already played a ton. And so I think it becomes a brain burner, gamery game when you add everything together, but you don't have to, which is another cool thing about these modular expansions. You want to play with just a little inspiration cards, go ahead, just play that with the base game, you can mix things in and out. I like that it brought in more standard public goals. So even with this expansion, you don't have to be playing with all the other goodies to just mix a bunch of cards in with the standard goals. You don't even know they're in there, but they come out and they're new, and I love that. Anytime you can add variability to a game without adding any complexity or anything new or anything like that, because these are the types of things from these expansions that you can play with people that haven't played before, because they're all just sort of mixed in and it's new to you and they don't know it's new. I would like to see more of these standard type things with all the expansions that come with Sagrada, because really variation is the key for this game. On the negative side, I wish it had more inspiration cards. Those were some cards that came from a previous expansion that are just fun. They're one-time use goals that you're, not goals, but they're special abilities that you have, one of them each game, and it's really fun. But after you've played the game a ton, you've seen them all, you've used them all, you're like, I want to see something new. I hope maybe in the next expansion, can you add some more of those inspiration cards to mix in some variability with that. Also, again, some more standardized private. I wish they had more private goals in this one for the Masterworks dice. Maybe have some things specific with that. I would have liked to have seen that in this expansion too. But overall, in this small box, it's pretty inexpensive. If you like Sagrada, it's kind of a no-brainer just to get this. But those are some things I would have liked to have seen in this, and hopefully you'll see in some of the future expansions. But this game is still one of my favorites, and it gets even better with each one of these expansions. I look forward to the next one, which will be the third of the Great Facade. This is the second one. This has been a Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships through board games by helping you on the next one you'll love. Lucky Duck Games has launched a brand new online shop and are offering you, my viewers, a special discount. During checkout, use promo code GameBoyGeek10 and you'll save 10% on the price of your games. On the Lucky Ducks game shop, you'll find exciting new releases such as Tang Garden, which I recently reviewed, and the link is below, And it's a wonderful world, as well as award-winning games like Chronicles of Crime, which is one of my favorite cooperative games of all time, and Vikings Gone Wild. So why not visit LuckyDuckGames.com now and find something new to play?